It was a gorgeous Wednesday. I want to say the temperature on March 11th hit something like 70 degrees in the Smokies up in Cherokee, North Carolina, which is where we were headed for my 50th birthday. I couldn't think of a better place to spend such a kind of a big day than with my buddies, Jason and Corey, in a place that I love maybe more than any other place in the world. The Smoky Mountains are incredibly beautiful, rugged, challenging terrain. You have to work for every view that you get, every waterfall that you see, and when we were trying to figure out a place to go for my birthday, I was like, "That's where we're going. We're gonna go do we're gonna go do a 3 day backpacking trip in the Smokies." And because the weather was so nice, I was like, "Geez, I might as well get a run in before everybody shows up." So that's what I did. I went out and ran a 10K. I mean, a really fast 10K. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't a terrible 10K. I think I had negative splits. If you don't believe me, you can look at the Strava. So the run is done. Feeling really good about my elite athlete status, and I'm just soaking in the subtle grandeur of the mountains. And they haven't arrived yet, so I figure I got some time. I'm going to go into town, get a little firewood, and start cooking up my meal. And heading in, back into Cherokee where the firewood is, and maybe a couple other supplies. It's amazing. You just are guaranteed to see elk just about every time you drive through Oconaluftee Visitor Center area. And that's because even though elk are native to the area, they were just reintroduced to the park in 2001 after being killed off, decades and decades ago from overhunting. And so in 2001, what started as a herd of only 25 has grown since then to a herd of over 300. So it's really cool to see how large these animals are, how majestic they are, how lazy they can appear. But you're guaranteed to see them just about every time you drive back into town in Cherokee at sunset. So I always love that. But without further ado, let's introduce you to the crew here. In this case, the victims. Cory and Jason are two guys I've known for quite a while. Met both of them in Charlotte, and we just have had this tendency to push each other to our physical limits. We've done a lot of fun, exciting, extreme things together, and in this case, this is a picture of us doing a 50K ultra marathon. Jason and I have gone further than that. We've done a 50 miler. We ran the JFK 50 back in 22. And Cory and I have summited the Half Dome using the cables. That was pretty extreme, pretty awesome. And we've even run 100 miles. So, and that was absolutely brutal. That was in like the hills of West Virginia. And just as recently as December, we were over in Alabama running another 50K for Jason's birthday. And these ultra events always seem to line up on somebody's birthday for whatever reason. And fact is stranger than fiction. Cory and I share a birthday. We were both born on March 12th. So that's just another crazy coincidence. But of course, there's always time to pamper yourself afterwards. And this one ended with a dip in the hot tub. So I thought we were ready. I felt like we were good to go. We had just recently done, a long run, and I felt like we were in top physical condition. We were all professional athletes and extreme physical specimens. So I felt like we were ready to go. And that's everybody. Jason, Cory, myself. We're in the Smokies. Um, I am at the campsite a little early. They're working. They're getting off work, so they're driving in from North Carolina, and I've got the firewood. I've got the fire going. I'm cooking my favorite meal of all time. I don't know why. Every single night when I arrive at camp, I have to cook sausage, pepper, and onions. I love it. I don't know why I have to do it, but I have to do it. And I've done everything I can. I'm just chilling out, and I'm just waiting on the guys. And in addition to sharing a birthday, Corey and I have the exact same tent, only mine is starting to leak. So I've asked him to bring his giant core 9-man instant pop up tent. We're going to put some cots in there. It's going to be glorious. And but when they arrive, Jason like pulls in with his truck, and he's got a tent on the back of his truck, and he's not going to sleep in our giant 9-man tent. And I'm just thinking to myself, why are you doing this? It makes no sense. And ultimately, he had the last laugh.
Here's Cory's sleeping arrangement. We've got his feet are
like
in
a
the
mermaid.
sleeve. His feet are in the sleeve of a coat. And then he's got another coat, just so that his sleeping bag does not get soaked. Your pillow is soaked.
Oh, I'm sure.
Puddles are increasing in size. I have to go to the bathroom really bad. Everything is drenched. If I go outside, that's the end of it. Captain's log. 4 something a.m. and the skies have opened. Everything it's wet. Inside the tent is wet. You can see the rain. You can see it. You can see it dripping down right on Cory. Oh, it's all wet.
Yeah, I mean, look at this.
Yeah, that's wet.
It's a little windy, a little cold, but we're making the best of it. We got some sausage sizzling up here on the fire. Get a wind barrier, more so just to dry out these wet chairs. It poured last night. Are those water chestnuts? Sliced potatoes, my bad. This is the current situation. By this point in the day, it was supposed to be sunny. Clearly not sunny, clearly windy, and seemed to have a blizzard forming. But of course, we are going to press on because we're ultra marathon runners. We are in supreme physical condition. We're professional athletes. So we've put like 100 pounds of gear in everybody's pack, and we're going to go. Now, you already know that we're going to the top of Mount LeConte, but the route that we've chosen is an absolutely quintessential Smokies hike. We're taking Alum Cave Trail up to the top, which follows this really peaceful river for about a mile up through Arch Rock, which is this really cool geological feature. Up and around Inspiration Point, you've got views for 25, 50 miles in all directions. You're following this ridge line. Now, you already know we're battling some snow and ice, so we've got to be careful because there's lots of exposure. The trail gains about 2,700 feet over 5 to 6 miles. There's old growth forest here at the top when you come around Alleluia Corner, ultimately passing the LeConte Lodge, which is a 100-year-old facility at the top of the mountain. And then we're going to stay at the shelter near the peak. One of the things about hiking is that if you do it enough, you're going to pick up a trail name. And these trail names typically are not very flattering. And they're going to represent something that you have either done or some food that you eat over and over again, or some mistake or accident that you've had on the trail. And everybody that you're hiking with is going to start to refer to you by your trail name instead of your real name. I have a trail name, and for me, it's because every hike that I plan tends to last 50% or 100% longer than I expected. It's always going to be tougher. There's going to be more elevation gain. It's going to be hotter or colder than I thought. And it gets to be miserable, and I do a lot of complaining. And so my trail name is Death March. Um, like I said, it's not very flattering, but it's very true. And so for the other folks like Corey, um, I don't care what you need on the trail. Um, hey, do you have some fingernail clippers? Yes, I do. Corey's got them. Um, Gosh, it would make this so much better if I just had a little bit of sugar for this coffee. He's got some sugar. Um, my knee is hurting. It'd be great if I had some Advil. Oh, hold on a second. I've got some Advil. Duct tape, paracord, 4 knives, a rain cover for his backpack, a stool, shovel, anything you can think of. He's always going to have it. So his nickname is Walmart because it's a one-stop shop. But for Jason, this is his first time backpacking, and he does not have a trail name. So we were all kind of really excited to see what adventures were going to unfold so that we could bestow him with a wonderful, appropriate, and unflattering trail name. So for about a mile and a half, we're hiking along this incredible river. This high on the serene scale. The snow has fallen, and it's still kind of hanging in the trees and the branches. So it's got this fairy tale kind of look, and it's just gorgeous. And it's been pretty flat. So when you hit Arch Rock, it's this really cool geological feature that is an arch, but unlike the arches of the West, this arch has not been carved by water, and it's not smooth like the delicate arch in Utah or anything like that. This is a very fragile, like broken uh, sharp, jagged arch that's been basically formed over eons of freeze and thaw conditions. This very brittle Anakista rock has contracted and expanded as the temperature changes, and it's broken and fallen apart in this really interesting way that allows people to hike up through it. And the National Park Service has put this cool staircase up it, so kind of a cool photo op. And then after that, the trail starts to gain some real elevation and gets a little more treacherous. It gets colder. There's some ice on the trail, and the Park Service knows that, so they've put these handrails there so people don't slip and fall. Shower right there. If you push a little further past Inspiration Point and Eye of the Needle, you're going to come to these set of stairs that go up and up forever. Follow those up, and you come to the main attraction really for this hike, which is Alum Cave Bluff. Which it's not really a cave; it's more of like this massive 100-foot overhanging, and the area is very unique. In the middle of this rainforest, there's this dry desert like area. It's full of minerals that in the 1800s were mined both to make Epsom salts, gunpowder, a bunch of different things. And after a while, they depleted all the natural resources, and it became a national park. And here we are, like I said, in the middle of this rainforest, and you're in this arid desert like environment. Always dry, always a ton of people, and most people, for most of those folks that are hiking up, this is where their hike ends. Not gonna lie, the hike past Alum Cave Bluff is kind of a slog. You're going up a pretty steep incline, lots of steps. You're shrouded in on both sides with trees, and there's a steep mountain. Your views are kind of obstructed, so you got to make it through. You got to make the turn up one of those last switchbacks, because once you're back on like the west side of the mountain, you get some pretty incredible views of the entire park towards Tennessee. before we originally set off to go on this hike, I was kind of disappointed. I was like, geez, the snow is going to make things complicated. I was worried that there was going to be too much of it on the hike, but in reality, I think that having the snow and the trees added a new dimension to this hike. I've done it maybe 10 times in my life, but I've never seen it look quite this peaceful and majestic. It was pretty epic. So I'm actually kind of glad that it snowed. I was so determined to make sure that we had this epic backpacking trip for Jason's first experience that I completely overlooked the fact that he and heights don't exactly get along. But the views were definitely worth it. So at this point, we're about 4.5 miles in, probably 2,500 feet of elevation gain. And I'm not kidding, the backpacks probably weighed, they were more than 40, less than 60. We spared no expense. It's all about comfort. People were like, how many nights are you staying up there? We're like, well, a couple nights. I think they were expecting to hear like a couple weeks. So the hard work is paying off. We've been lugging these packs all the way up the trail, and we're getting some shots that are out of this world. Here's a location on the trail called The Best View, and it's just one of those places where you can snap a fantastic shot of your buddy pushing himself to the limits, as we always seem to do when we get together for our birthdays or whatever. And we're getting close to the end of the trail, so looking forward to getting warm and taking a load off. So after Alleluia Turn, the trail flattens out, and before you know it, you come upon LeConte Lodge, which is, I think it's the highest lodge like east of the Mississippi. It's at 6,500 feet of elevation. It's got all these different structures. You can rent it out. Be prepared. I tried to book a reservation after we got back from this trip in March, and there was already a wait list for the entire year, and I had to book something on the wait list. So plan ahead. You can spend a couple $100 to a couple $1,000 on your accommodations. They serve all kinds of stew and wine and breakfast and whatnot. And the lodge itself has a really cool history. It was built by this guy named Paul Adams, who was like a mountaineer from Gatlinburg area. And there's a legend that his dog used to run down the trail with some satchels on his side just to get supplies while he was building all these buildings. So pretty cool history. There's definitely a mystique about this place. It's some place I definitely want to stay in the future. That being said, our accommodations for the evening were slightly more modest. We were going to be staying in the LeConte shelter, the Mount LeConte shelter, and which was just a couple hundred feet past the LeConte Lodge. And temps had plummeted. We were looking forward to a roaring fire in the fireplace. All these shelters have fireplaces, and the wind chill had dipped below zero. I think it was 25-mile-an-hour wind, something like that. And it was getting to be, late afternoon. So we were getting hungry, looking forward to chilling out for a little bit. But just as we were about to eat, I was looking around, and you could tell that it wasn't going to be long before the sun was setting. And so there's this special time at night and in the morning. It lasts for about an hour. It's called the golden hour. And all the shadows get a little bit longer, and all the harsh light of the day kind of fades away, and everything turns into this kind of like these different tones of gold and yellow and amber. And it's just a perfect time to take pictures. And we just happen to be, maybe like a quarter of a mile from this incredible view called Cliff Tops. It's not the actual summit of Mount LeConte, but it is this rocky outcropping where you can get these incredible views. So decided to head up there and take some pictures, and it did not disappoint. So we make it back from Cliff Tops, and that wonderful fire that we were looking forward to in the shelter, unfortunately, was blocked off. People were vandalizing or something, so couldn't get a fire going. I mean, the temps had dipped into the teens. It was bitterly cold. So instead of staying in the shelter, um, I know that there are plenty of other critters in the shelters that enjoy staying warm and getting in from the cold. So mice are pretty frequent visitors there. Wasn't looking forward to having mice crawl all over my face while I was sleeping. So we decided to set up our tents outside in the snow, which made for some pretty cool photos. But it was cold, and to add to that, Jason had taken a bit of a spill coming back from the privy that's set up near the shelter, which is kind of a luxury, honestly, to be able to go to the bathroom and the toilet when you're that remote. But so he was, maybe his pride was hurt more than his body, but we were looking forward to calling it a night and getting up and getting after it the next day. You know, hikers' midnight is at 9 p.m., they say, and I don't think we lasted much past that. Went to bed, and the temps dropped quickly. The wind was howling, and it was bitterly cold. My feet were freezing. I don't usually get cold, but that night I was. And so if I was cold, I knew Jason was going to be cold. And Walmart usually has some sort of contraption or strategy for keeping himself warm. So I wasn't worried about him. But I really wanted Jason to have a good time because I wanted him to want to come back. So when we woke up in the morning, we were like, let's go check out the summit and then let's head down the mountain. So that's what we did. If you are going to go past Alum Cave Bluffs, make sure that you go all the way to the true summit of Mount LeConte. Most people just head up, go to the lodge, and they think they've made it to the summit. But in reality, you have to go a little bit further, maybe a quarter of a mile, until you get to this huge rock cairn where you actually are at the true summit of Mount LeConte. So we've got a few pictures of us just kind of goofing around by the true summit. And then also make sure you do, like we did, go to the cliff tops. Those are two things you don't want to miss if you've made the effort to go all the way up to the top of this big mountain. The great thing about going down the mountain is that you're not going up the mountain. But in this case, it was a little more treacherous because it was freezing and there was a bunch of ice gathering in some precarious places. So we really had to be careful. When you're going down these icy trails, one of the things you want to do, one of the items you want to bring with you is a pair of micro spikes, which are metal spikes that go on your shoes like a pair of crampons, and they really help you maintain traction as you go down the trail. But as we will see in the very near future, sometimes they do not always work to your advantage. This is pretty much the hike. I mean, we're going down the mountain, taking it one step at a time, making sure we don't fall. Although we did have another incident. Jason did take another spill at the as we were heading up to the summit. Again, I don't think he was injured, but we were concerned. So we put on our micro spikes. We're hiking down the mountain. We're putting one foot in front of the other, and we're just trying to make it down to the bottom so we can go eat our faces off and light a big fire and just have a good time at base camp. So we're just headed down the mountain, and we come up to Alum Cave Bluff on the way down. And as the snow melts, the water is trickling over the top of the cliff. It's a pretty cool sight. And Walmart's out front. He's taking us down. Jason's close behind. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the last photo we have of Jason. Because as I said in the beginning, if you do the same thing over and over and over again, you will earn a trail name and you will become known henceforth as that trail name. And in this case, Jason took another fall, not just any fall. This is one of those yard sale, backpack goes flying. The micro spikes that he was wearing got caught on a pant leg and he just went head over heels. This is the kind of fall where strangers come up to you and ask you if you're okay. And we had to pull out a first aid kit. And right there in the first aid kit is this giant sign inside that says "for major wounds." And therefore, that is Jason's new trail name. He will forever now be known as Major Wound. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for indulging me as I tell the story of my 50th birthday, Cory's 30-somethingth birthday. We had a great time. We made it down off the mountain. Jason earned his trail name. We did eat a ton of food when we got down. We had some boiled peanuts, and I made some sort of fettuccine Alfredo with toasted pine nuts, and we smoked a ton of cigars and just had a great old time. And if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. I'm going to try to create some more clips of our memories, and stay tuned for more ultra adventures. Thanks.